Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. Good to have you along. And this will be our last episode of Coach's Corner until next semester because we're coming to the end of the year. This episode brought to you by Sparklight and Hearst today. And we're going to have the guy that used to be the coach, but now is the AD as he made the transition. Wasn't the coach here at Ponca, made the transition to AD here in Ponca, and that is Joe Turner. Coach, good to have you along.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you'll still hear me calling Coach. So let's start off. I mean, it was first year here with you. So how do you assess how things went during this year? I mean, you had a lot of good, a lot of crazy. I mean, it was a wild year.
It was wild. It was good. I mean, coming in the transition, I always wanted to make that step to 6A and even possibly coach at 6A, but coming in multiple sports that I have not been affiliated with in small schools, it was a challenge transition-wise, but, with every, the transition was a lot smoother with the coaches that we had in place, experienced coaches that we had in place. We've got good staff. That made it a lot easier.
Yeah, and not only that, you had duties with the Oklahoma Coaches Association too.
Yes,
So
yes,
I mean,
sir.
not only that, you had stuff with that as far as transitioning to 6A as well.
That is true, and I was just talking to a buddy the other day. I told him, I said, it's been good to be on the OCA board, but I'm outgoing president here in July during the clinic. I'll be outgoing. I said, I've spent 5 consecutive years on that because normally you are 2 years on the board, and then if you want to run for vice president, then president. But during COVID year, we had to do an extra year, so I was on the board for 3 years, and then vice president 1 year, and then president this last year. So it's been good to know what goes on, all the work goes on behind the scenes, or other coaches don't know about. But I would recommend to all young coaches to get in there and do their part in one of the greatest organizations in the state.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into all the sports and kind of the recap of everything as well. But I want to get into a couple of general questions first. And first off, we're always seeing with all 6A sports redistricting and all this, and it's all based on your attendance. And there was a little shakeup with some of that, and you just really got things lined out here recently with some of that, right?
That is true. We had our schedule all in place, and then, of course, we all know what happened. The private schools filed a lawsuit on that, and didn't agree with, the parameters that were not followed. So anyway, we had to redo the districts, and they just got approved last week. The districts, the new districts, because we actually had a team that was playing non-district actually came into our district. So we had to find a non-district game, and we had a schedule set up where we played 0 week 1, week 2, and then had our bye week 3. Well, when we lost the week 1 game, we had to pick up another opponent, and that didn't fill our schedule. We had to pick them up week 3. So our bye week kind of falls kind of unconventional. We play one game, have a bye week, then play a remaining schedule 2 non-district, and then the district games. So not conventional, but is what we had to do.
No, you got to do what you got to do. And with that, we saw, and we'll go into the sports now. We'll start with football, which is, of course, always the big thing in the fall. And with football, it was a crazy year. You went through a situation nobody could have expected, but you were able, after it's all said and done, the kids to continue to have success, and we're going to have a lot of familiarity in the program because it is a promotion of Justin Rowland, the hometown guy that's going to be the head football coach and get his chance to lead the Wildcats this fall.
Oh, definitely. I think Justin's going to do great. I've got great confidence in that he's going to do a tremendous job. He was that glue that kind of held the team together when, because we didn't know which way. You don't really know which way the team's going to go after the situation we was in, and he did a tremendous job of keeping those guys together and keeping them focused, motivated, and made a good run in playoffs. And almost, we were right there third quarter with Muskogee, the state champ. So I know we lost some good seniors. You lose good seniors every year, and but that's why we got great coaches in place to coach them up and you're dealt with the hand. We're not like college. You don't go out there and pick your own team. You're dealt with the hand you're dealt with. And we just go make do.
Yeah, and now with the redistrict, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I guess you could call it the East in a way, but they really try to balance these things out every year. So it's going to be a lot different looking district for us than what we've played.
You're exactly right. I thought for sure, when it all went down, they was going to redistrict. I figured we'd go back to the west side. I did, but Stillwater went that way, and Choctaw's that way, and so it was really kind of, it's good on our part. Our schedule looks good. We managed to balance it out: 5 home games and 5 away games with those non-district games. Originally, we had 4 home district games.
Yeah,
and so. That was a juggle on his part. Best way to put it is a lot of unorganized chaos.
Yeah,
when that went down.
And for 2 years, you got now one of your rivals back in, so you're going to get the original. You play Enid, and you're going to get to play Bartlesville.
That's
so
true.
You're going to have your rivals back in, and Bartlesville will be a district game.
Right. And before they realigned it the second time, we actually had Stillwater in there in our district. So, but they went to the east side. So, they dodged us.
So that's football. A lot of promise going into next year, and another great season this season in the midst of a lot of chaos that happened late in the year. Go through some of the other sports too. Softball, we're going to be seeing new stuff there come this fall as well. So
we are. Geneva did a good job right there. Last couple of years had over 20 win seasons. But Coach Freeman, he, brings a wealth of experience in.
Former AD here.
Yeah, former AD. Captured a couple of state championships at Morrison.
Yep.
Bang gone. So, we're excited what he's got. Brought his new staff, people that was already here, but have some great experience and background in softball, baseball. So
yeah, and he's got like the most unique story when you think about it. Like I said, he was at Ponca. He's coached before. He's Ponca. He was the AD. Went down to Morrison to do administrative, but also coach down there, and then won a state championship.
Right.
And now he's coming back to Ponca City. And Freeman's love of Ponca can show because when he made the move to Ponca, his daughter actually stayed and played softball here.
Right.
And so it's cool to have that, and I think that's a really unique story.
And he'll have his youngest daughter be a freshman, so she's coming in also. So, it's exciting times for a softball program.
Yeah. All right, the other things, you got volleyball was another sport that in the winter, and we talk about 6A being tough. I mean, volleyball, it's really unforgiving, and we talk about those private schools and all that. You start throwing them into the mix when it comes to volleyball, and we see that in every sport, but volleyball, it really shows.
It's definitely, you look at the teams year in, year out in the state tournament, those private schools occupy most of those slots. And they do in other sports also, basketball, you get Heritage Hall and you get Lincoln Christian, you get them all in there, and they do well,
And the health scare with Jenny this year too.
Oh,
that was the next thing. That was maybe one of the scariest moments of the year for Ponca City athletics.
No doubt. And she's much better now, better place. So I look for good things come from this volleyball program. She's got a lot of returners coming back. They were fairly young, and she's got some good young ones coming up.
Yeah.
So. She's got the program on the right path.
We're going through the gauntlet, and the kind of last thing I mentioned fall is cross country, and there's always a few kids in there that do well, and you've got some good coaches there too.
Oh, definitely great coaches. I always say Coach Landis does a heck of a job when you see 50 to 75 kids in the summertime running, putting the miles in the 100-degree temperature.
Yeah.
So she's doing something right.
Yeah, no doubt. So that gets you the fall, and that takes us into winter, and you saw two coaches that are alumni of Ponca City get their first year under their belt, and you were there one time too, being a head coach for the first time.
Yep.
It wasn't in 6A though.
No, it wasn't.
So for both Micah and Jacob, it was an interesting year, and I think they both learned a lot, and there were some successes to be found in the year as well.
You're exactly right. I reflect back to my first year, being head coach. It's something, back when I was 23, getting out of college, I wanted a head job. Didn't get it, but spent a few years as assistant and needed to, and then got the opportunity to be a head coach. And once you get it, you're like, oh man, what am I going to do now? Like, hey, this is what I wanted, hey, what am I going to run offensive, defensively, and
Yeah.
and the stuff you've learned in the past, you just put it all together, and things work out, it all goes back to fundamentals, teach fundamentals, and you're going to be all right.
Yeah, and both those also had the adjustment being the assistants at the school they're at,
Right.
transitioning to the head job.
Right.
And that's a totally different role, too. And especially if you go to somewhere new, those kids don't have the expectation. But when you are
Right.
at the same place,
Oh, yeah.
those kids that have been with you a few years, now you're the head coach.
Right.
It's different because it's your program. You're the disciplinarian a lot of
Right.
times.
Oh yeah. When you was probably assistant, you was probably the good cop.
Yeah.
Now you're the bad cop now because you're the head coach.
Yeah. So, and that'll bring us to the next thing, wrestling. It's going to be another transition with wrestling naturally with Justin Rowland, who was
Right.
D coordinator and the head wrestling coach, and now he'll be transitioning to that head football coaching role. But one thing about it, when it comes to Ponca City wrestling, there's a lot of history there, and when you open that thing up, you're going to have a whole lot of great candidates.
You bet. There was a good pool of candidates there. Like you said, there's great tradition there. You look, when you look, you ask people around the state of Oklahoma, older coaches, and you ask Ponca City, and first thing comes to mind, they're wrestling, because it was top notch, and we hired I think a phenomenal coach, Stephen Moore. He's going to do a well of a job, and there was, like you said, there were some good applicants. We had some good interviews, but when it was all said and done, Stephen's going to be man in charge. He was just a little notch above the other ones.
Yeah, and we also have the emergence of girls wrestling as well,
Right.
and we've seen them. I mean, they had good success this year after getting the state qualifier
Right.
just the previous year. In that first year, they qualified 4 girls, I believe, if I remember right, to state this year, and they're looking to grow under their coach.
Right, and then they pretty much returned 90% of their team also. So, and the junior high program is strong too. So he's got some good ones, and Coach Agee does a good job. You can see the passion he has. Just talking to him, you can tell the passion he has for those girls in the wrestling program.
Yeah, and that'll bring us to the last winter sport, and it's probably, I would venture to say the most accomplished sport of this year, 6A swimming. It is tough. Coach Harris did a great job, and I don't know if it's ever happened. They've had some individual years, but she's kind of in charge of both the boys and girls, and they both finished in top 5 at state
They did.
in 6A, and they had some medalists, a lot of medalists as
State
well. So,
champions.
it was impressive what they did, and I think she even got a Coach of the Year honor through it.
She did, and she's going to be the all-state swimming coach during summer games in July. So during the clinic. So we're fortunate to be blessed with Coach Harris. She does, like you said, a heck of a job. Growing up in the swimming program, she did. Is her what I hear. Her dad was a swimming coach at one time, and she, like you said, I was there to state swim meet, and we had some state champions again, and like I said, finished in top 5. So she does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and when you look at the amount of swimmers down there that are going to be swimming at big level programs, and it's a matter of just a half second of whether you're better than them or not.
Oh, exactly.
For Ponca to do that, very, very impressive, and just goes to show when you get the coaches that love it.
Oh yeah,
And love Ponca,
Right.
you have success.
right, and you can tell by her peers that how they respect her and what she's done at Ponca City as she was selected as the all-state coach.
Yeah, and like I said, hard to do. Let's go into spring now, and we'll go through these sports real quick. Baseball, they just wrapped up recently. They were down in Stillwater in their regional, and it was a tough one, taking on a real tough Stillwater team. Ended up with a state semifinal loss, but baseball had a better record, had their stats a little bit better, so it seems like we're seeing some good growth through that.
We are, and I know Coach Middlebrooks, once again, you always lose good seniors, and they had a good senior bunch, but he's really excited about his younger players, quite a few sophomores saw substantial playing time, and even, the last game against Bixby, our Bono kid pitched, pitched a heck of a game,
Yes.
against Bixby, and was right there, you know how baseball is, play here, play there, from being a difference, winning a game.
Yeah, and talk about the adversity of those kids. They didn't get to play their first half of the year pretty much at home,
Right.
but we did get to open a beautiful, and as far as facilities are concerned, that's kind of the crown jewel, I think, of 2024 with
Right.
what we've done with baseball, is that thing is looking great.
It is. And, I mentioned our Bono kid, and there's several other ones that were multi-sport athletes. And I always, when I was at Willen, I was AD and baseball and football coach. And all of my baseball kids, they played football for me or played basketball. So, your arms are never really in shape.
Yeah.
And I always get beat out by a fall baseball school. I would, at Woodland. But yeah, those kids, and I know some of them go and throw on their own because they just realize your arms got to be in shape. Because once you come out of wrestling or basketball, hey, it's right. You got games.
Yeah.
There's no practice time. There's games.
Yeah, those multi-sport athletes, the conditioning's different in every sport, and the muscles you use is different, and it always takes you a little while to get in shape. And that was the thing, well, Lance is a great example. He's a three-sport athlete, and he went and pitched a great game there at the end of the year.
Right.
So, but a lot of good stuff with baseball. And like I said, if you hadn't got out there to see that new facility where they had the ribbon cutting there towards, I believe it was the end of March, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
You need to get out there and see that because it is a great facility. So the other sports to kind of wrap it up, soccer, always tough in 6A, and that district is probably, you talk about any district of any sport, that district may be one of the most unforgiving.
Right, you're exactly right. Coach Lykin and done a good job with the boys. There's a lot of participation in the boys, and he's very excited about the young guys coming up. And Coach Arnold, he's leaving. We actually have a girls soccer position open right now that we'll be conducting interviews. Probably start here in a week or so. And looking for a head soccer coach, and also I know you're probably going to get into golf here.
Yeah.
Coach Williams did the boys and girls golf, and realized how golf is. You're gone if you're doing both. You're gone 4 out of 5 days of the week.
Well, and Tanner's kind of the go-to to drive the bus for a lot of other sports too.
Yes, he is. So he is going to step down from girls golf. So we do have girls golf open also.
Yeah.
We'll be looking.
And golf, speaking of that, I mean, you had a regional.
Right, we did.
But you didn't get it because rain and Mother Nature had something else in mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were prepared for that, but you're right. We had a flurry of rain right there, and didn't allow us to play on our home course.
Yeah, in the last two sports, tennis and track and field, those are two. And once again, tennis is it's kind of like swimming with all the great individuals,
right.
And not only that, doubles that you have in 6A, it is tough. But they had a successful year. And good coach trying once again to get the feel of what she wants with the program now that it's all under kind of the boys and the girls there together. Right. So look forward to just talking to her what they can do going forward.
Right, you're exactly right. And with the beginning of construction on a new tennis facility, that's going to be state of the art. There's not going to be nobody compete with that. Just kind of like our softball field. I know you went to many softball stadiums. I went to about all of them because we played no home games except 2 or 3 of them. Played a couple at the Redplex and played one at home. So I visited everybody's stadium, and there is no other stadium as nice as the one we have out there. I promise you.
Yeah, and I'm ready for softball to get going and that thing. And you talk about the new tennis facility, and then the final sport, track and field, and once again, it's a tough sport, and it's one of those. A lot of coaches, if a player plays other sports and they don't. They want to keep them active. A lot of times track and field is the place they land. Right. So there's a lot of the kids that are standouts in a lot of their sports that are part of track and field, and they have some success there.
Exactly right. Track, they qualified a couple relay teams. They qualified their 4x1 and the 4x4. It's just unfortunate that they had one of their seniors pull a hamstring in the regional, which, they had great times all year long. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the way sports is. You come up with injuries, and they probably would have been on the medal podium probably in those 2 relays.
Oh,
it's unfortunate.
Injuries in sports. I mean, it's Think about Aaron Rodgers. Jets were looking good that first week, weren't they? Until 4 plays in or whatever. So
Exactly.
I mean, that's sports. It's in sports with injuries. A lot of times it's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when it happens as well. And coaches will tell you a lot of times the thing out of their control is staying healthy.
Exactly.
And if you can stay healthy, a lot of times you can have success.
You're exactly right.
And we are. That goes into another thing I want to make sure to mention today. Coaches that are in charge of every athlete, our strength and conditioning, also our athletic trainer. These are coaches that are looking for conditioning. They're looking to get bigger, faster, stronger. They're looking to help out with injuries. Your athletic trainer is there to treat those injuries, also help out and prevent. So those are key components, more so than ever before, in a high-functioning athletic department. Exactly. Your strength and conditioning, your athletic trainers.
They definitely are. I know they already got their summer plan already planned out. Winter weight rooms for that particular sport or those athletes coming in, and you're right. That's the main goal. I mean, yeah, you want to get bigger and stronger, but doing that, you're going to prevent injuries, and when those injuries come, Kylie does a real good job. And in fact, here at 1 o'clock, we are interviewing another trainer. Hopefully, we'll have 2 on staff. Hopefully, we get this one hired also. So
I hope that for Kylie.
Yeah. So that would definitely be a bonus right there.
Yeah, and 6A programs really need 2 athletic trainers with everything that is going on. I mean, it is, I think, important for that for the kids, but it's also, they're hard to find out there too. So it's not like we haven't had the position open.
Right. No, I think Jennifer told me this is the first time I had an applicant in like 4 years.
Yeah.
It's been open and continuously open, but this young lady, she's graduated from UCO and just graduated, so hopefully we can.
Usually, if they get to Ponca, they fall in love with it. So
yes,
that's one thing that you can say. So I want to get before we let you go, the future with Ponca City Athletics. Talk about some of the stuff that you see coming down. And we know people are going to get to enjoy some new facilities soon, as we talked about, but what else is coming up as far as what your goal and your vision is going in maybe to next year and the following years of Ponca City Athletics?
Right. I think our goal is to continue just striving for excellence, and I think most of our coaches are on board, they're pretty excited about what they got coming back. And like you said, those new facilities are going to be help tremendously, especially in the wintertime when we don't have facilities to practice at, and inclement weather, but those are really going to pay dividends, and that's just a shout out to the community for passing those bonds, for our younger generation, for our youth to have that facility in place. I think we just ultimate goal, every year I'd tell my teams, in football, I'd say, hey, our goal is win a state championship. I mean, that's our goal. And, honestly, when you say that, as your team that, say there's, 64 and our class is 16, but of those 16 teams in 6A2, you have, I'd say probably 6, 8 of them have a legitimate shot, and we're one of those. Yeah. I think we're definitely one of those top 8 teams. So when you preach that, I think they, you have to preach it for them to believe it, And I think, as coaching, you have to. Sometimes you got to brainwash your kids, and make them in and believe, something that. They can do. And I think, we got a lot of positive coaches. I think that's the main thing. I always tell people my glass is always half full. It's not half empty. I think if it's always half empty, you're always looking for that excuse or something of why you didn't get something done, instead of roll your sleeves up and go to work. And we got a lot of coaches that are rolling their sleeves up, going to work each and every day. And our athletes see that, kids are pretty smart. They can pick up whether that coach is invested in the team or not. And I think we have a lot of coaches that are invested in our teams. And that product is going to show, on the field, on the court. And ultimately they're going to turn into wins.
Yeah. All right. So getting the summertime, and everybody can at least have a little time to maybe relax a little bit. There is a dead week in there for some of the coaches that have some stuff that's going on too. Right. So, any plans this summer? You ready to get away? Ready to kind of relax with family? Like what do you got to kind of unwind?
I tell you, I think that's one thing. The Lord blessed me with 4 daughters, man. They all like to go to the beach, so that's always our vacation, going to the beach. And they love going to Panama City Beach, so that's kind of been our tradition, going there each year.
I'm heading to a different beach. I'm heading to Myrtle Beach this year, so I'll be with you. With you on the beach somewhere, chilling and unwinding with my family as well, because it's we all deserve it once we get to the end of the year. And athletics is I don't know if people sometimes realize, with the coaches, and especially the high level coaches you have, how much a 24/7, 365, and you know it because you've been in it. If you're not coaching, you're thinking about it. You're thinking about what to implement. Even if you're on vacation, what can I do a little bit better? It's hard to truly get away, because part of the reason is you love those kids so much.
Exactly. You're exactly right. I mean, you may go to bed, but your mind is still going. Your mind never has time to sleep. You're just constantly thinking about that. Like, I told people this last year that, hey, this was the best year I had watching OSU football games, having season tickets, that I literally sit there and watch the game and not think about, what am I going to run next Friday? How am I going to defend so-and-so? How am I going to stop by-in? Something like that. I actually enjoy the game. I don't have to think about what we're going to run or stop somebody. So, but yeah, you're right. It's being AD only, it is a grind, but it's a different type of grind.
Yeah.
Than the coaching.
Well, you want to be proactive, but coaching, it's all thinking about what's to come and putting yourself in those scenarios. Not saying you don't do that with being an athletic director, but there's a lot of reaction with athletic directing.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, Coach, really appreciate it, and great year for Ponca City Athletics. Want to say a big thanks to all the coaches that we've had all year long. Want to say a big thanks to Ashley, too. Yes. She helps organize who's going to come in, and I know it was her first year as well, taking over for Rebecca, and she's done a great job. And that's something we maybe we should mention. Athletic at that position right there is maybe one of the most important positions of making your job a little easier.
You're exactly right. It's like the old saying, hey, behind every good head coach, they got some good assistants. Behind every D, hey, I've got a great secretary. So yeah, they definitely play an integral part into the success of everything.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, but a big thanks to the parents, big thanks to the kids too. That's what makes all of us do what we do, even me on the broadcasting end. I want to say big thanks to Chris behind the camera all year. Big thanks to everybody that helps. I know Kyle Albee that does a lot for us. Just a big thanks to everybody in the athletic department. And I know from my end, and Coach, anything you want to say before we say goodbye for the semester? You'll be the next one on to get the semester going next year.
I know. That's why I think back, last August, and we interviewed, and heck, you blink twice and it's already May. But that's what happens when you get older. Time flies faster and faster, don't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. My parents warned me about that, so I'm sure you're warning your daughters about it right now. But thanks, everybody. That's going to do it for this episode of Coach's Corner. For Joe Turner, I'm Jordan Woodruff. Until next time, go Cats.